Hi, I'm Kelly.
And hi, I'm Geoff.
And this is Blueprints for Belonging, where we're exploring how to build conscious connection in a disconnected world.
Because belonging doesn't happen by accident.
Mm-hmm.
It
Nope.
happens by design.
Hey,
Kelly.
how are you?
How are you?
We're
I'm
back.
good.
Here
Yes.
we are. We're going to explore the next part. Woohoo!
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
We're disseminating things that we know about so you can all listen.
Yep. Well, in this, podcast, we've been talking a little bit about how to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And we're giving a little bit more structure about how to connect, because sometimes they're invisible, these structures. And so we just want to kind of bring them to the forefront and helping people be aware of them and how we shape our connection with each other. And
Shine a light on it.
sometimes we disconnect and we're not sure why. So
Right.
that might also help people. So
Yep. So in our last two episodes, we began looking closely at language, not just what we say, but how subtle word choices influence emotional safety, clarity, and belonging.
right, we explore, how these small little phrases can shift our tone, how language can unintentionally create distance,
Mm-hmm.
and then, how many of us are speaking from old patterns we didn't even consciously choose?
Right. You mean the ones from childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Today we are continuing that conversation, but we're adding a deeper thread that runs underneath a lot of communication patterns.
Yep, and that thread is perfectionism.
Not perfectionism in work or achievement, but perfectionism in speech.
Yep.
The pressure to say things the right way, the fear of being misunderstood, the desire to prevent conflict before it even starts.
Right. So over these next 3 episodes, we're going to look at how perfectionism kind of quietly edits our language, and how that editing, while it's meant to protect connection, can actually create disconnection.
Yeah. Today we start with something almost everyone says at some point.
Well, we're going to give a name to those first.
Yes, we are.
And they're called defensive pre-statements.
Right.
Do you think you might know of what those might look like or sound like?
Oh, absolutely, because I've done them myself.
Okay,
I've
so
said them myself.
give an example. Let's give some examples.
Okay, don't take this the wrong way, but... And see,
This is why we added the episode on but.
Yeah, because all of these end with the word but. Oh, it's so bad.
I don't mean to offend you.
But, yeah, I might be wrong, but... And this probably doesn't make sense, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
So curious, why do you think we say those in conversations?
Well, probably a few different reasons, but there I go again. Okay, by the end of this podcast, meaning the season, I think, really, I think I will no longer use that word. Oh, man. I think it has to do with our apprehension about our audience. Mm-hmm. Not sure if they, not sure how to say what we're going to say, and so we discount it in advance.
So in some ways, you're kind of emotionally preparing the listener for something that might be bad that's going to happen.
Right. I don't mean to say this the wrong way, but here goes, and pretty much it's probably going to come out wrong.
Well, these phrases kind of function as a relational buffer. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they attempt to kind of soften the impact before the content's even delivered.
Right. Well, it kind of sets you up for failure.
Right.
Because when you're saying, well, this might sound crazy, but, and it's like, okay, well, now I know to expect something crazy out of your mouth.
So we've been talking, well, earlier in our conversation, we were talking a little bit about perfectionism. And how kind of perfectionism kind of it's the back current. It's the back I don't know, the generator that's helping us have these connections. I don't want to sound like I'm wrong or get chastised for not saying the right thing. So
right.
that's
I don't
about
want to be
perfectionism.
punished for doing it wrong. I want to get rewarded for doing it right, which means saying it perfectly.
Right. So these phrases kind of, they're a little bit about the anxiety we might have about how I'm going to say something. So let's practice this for just a minute. So share something that you might want to give a pre-defense statement to.
Well, I'll tell you something that I wanted to tell someone that I did give a pre-statement to.
Okay, do that.
Because I suspected that he would not embrace what I was telling him. And so I started off with something like, this is going to make me sound crazy, but here goes. And
how did he take it?
Well, he had a few. He took it just fine. He's a very nice man, but he did, say, well, I don't necessarily believe that, but there's this and this. Yeah, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. And so he kind of accepted what I said, but he singled out certain things that he just didn't want to buy. Yeah, which is fine. It wasn't like me telling my mother something.
Right.
It's very
so in
different.
some ways, this is where perfectionism tries to manage the outcome. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to look like don't know what I'm talking about. So I want to give that pre-statement so that I can get off the hook.
Right. I'm taking myself off the hook.
So I'm going to offer this in another way. If you'd said, I'm curious if, or I'm wondering if, or here's maybe another way that we can look at this. What do you think about that?
Right. Well, in that case, I would have said something like, I've got this
idea.
I got this idea that I've been ruminating over, and I'm curious if you wouldn't mind me telling you about it.
Yeah. You're inviting that invitation or that connection versus preparing them for it. It might not turn out.
Yeah,
right.
This might be bad.
Right. So underneath all of that, there's kind of this fear that's there. So yeah, well,
fear of punishment, fear of being wrong, fear of looking, I hate this word, but weak because you did it wrong, or because that's what comes into play. It's you're weak, or you're vulnerable, which equals weakness, or you're stupid, or you're an idiot. How could you think that? Nobody wants to be faced with those.
Yeah. So these are kind of some common internal beliefs that we might have. If I say this the wrong way, it might damage the relationship. Or if I don't soften it enough, I'll be rejected. And then sometimes people try to prevent conflict.
Right.
And sometimes they do, right, and sometimes they do more conflict or damage in the relationship than they did. So.
Right, than they prevented, right. Yeah, well, and those are avoidant people, who, at all costs, I'm going to try to couch this just right. And actually, so I can see why you would do that with certain people.
Because you're going to protect yourself.
Because when you work for a crazy person, you got to couch all you can because you just don't know what's going to set them off.
I liked your word, couch.
Couch, yeah, couch it, baby, couch it.
I understand. So anyway, this defensive language that we have, it's rarely about clarity.
Right. No. It's all about muddying it up.
Right.
Because muddying it makes it easier for you to be wrong.
Right. So what we're seeking is this emotional safety, and this preemptive attempt to kind of avoid conflict is kind of something we want to pay attention to. or be aware of that we might be using these types of strategies. And when we are not aware of them, what happens? We tend to blame the other person, or we get disconnected.
We get reactive because we just didn't prepare. I mean, awareness saves you from reacting. It gives you that pause and allows you to assess the situation and choose your response rather than reaction. And we just can't play that up enough because it's so critical. I mean, you know, you have to be aware of you using these pre-statements before you can actually decide whether or not you want to keep using them.
Okay, I'm going to play a little more with you. So I'm going to give you some more statements.
Okay.
This might sound weird, but this probably doesn't make sense. But I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. But
here I go.
Right. I could be totally off here. But
oh my gosh, yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of these pre-statements, and I don't want to flood your ears with all of it at the same time. So we'll share some more for later. But I know this sounds crazy, but
yeah.
So
I would like to know how many statements like that are uttered every single day.
Oh my goodness, pay attention to them and you'll find out.
Right. Well, that's my homework.
Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, so fear is what's kind of going on even behind perfectionism. And part of what we're looking to share about belonging is becoming aware of these. What's a good way to
cycles of fear?
Fear and perfectionism and
right. Well, because you can be a perfectionist. Your fear that comes with that is that you will screw up one day, and well, of course you'll screw up one day. You're human.
You're human, right?
And so stop worrying about it and rest easy. Yeah.
So how do you think this, or I'm going to call this defensive language, we're making these statements, we're kind of defending ourselves before we're sharing anything. So I'm going to call that defensive language. How does that create disconnection?
Well, you're being defensive before you've even spoken. So defensiveness creates disconnection.
So it sets up the listener or the other person to be on guard as well.
Yeah. And
You're thinking.
Yeah, I am.
So when
I'm sorry, I'm thinking on air.
No, that's all right. That's all right. So when somebody hears, don't take this the wrong way, that kind of prepares them for potential harm. They're kind of, they know it's coming.
Right. And I'm not sure if it's going to come the right way or the wrong way, but I'm being told not to take it the wrong way. So how am I supposed to take it exactly? I don't know until I hear it. Wow. So that is just a recipe for disaster.
So here's another one. Let's see how well you do with this one. So I'm not trying to criticize. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but this is going to sound like a criticism.
I know. So how would you share that if you're not using? I'm not trying to criticize. How would you share that?
I've been thinking about these things a lot, and I'm curious if you're willing to hear me out on some of these things that I've been thinking about.
So in some ways, it's like extending an invitation. It's about collaboration, not cooperation or compliance. You're extending that invitation to clarify something that might be misunderstood or cause conflict.
Right. And in my statement, I did not even mention it might come out wrong or it might sound like criticism, but that's not my intention. All I did was ask if they were willing to listen. Mm-hmm. And that is really a beautiful way to enter it, mm-hmm. because there is no wrong. Mm-hmm. And you save yourself the trouble of worrying about it if you do it that way, because there is no wrong. Mm-hmm. There's no wrong answer.
So I think people also need to hear the words of how they're supposed to sound so they get the concept in their heads. So
yeah. We can't just say, don't say these things. We're not going to tell you what to say instead, but just don't say these things. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So when we say it, it's like, don't take this the wrong way. So you've already set them up that something might be. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to share something that, I'm wanting to share honestly with you. Would that be all right? You're asking for that invitation. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong, but, that's the one. But then how you would say it differently would be, here's kind of how I'm seeing it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or, no offense, but, or here's another way to say it. I want to say this respectfully.
Right.
And I'm just wondering. Uh-huh. I don't mean to offend you, but... And it would say something like, this might be hard to hear, and I care about saying it very clearly to you. So I'm recognizing something might be hard to say, mm-hmm. and I want to make sure I'm clear about how I'm saying it.
Right. And what you've done is you've given a pre-statement, but it's not a defensive pre-statement.
Correct. Right.
Right. It is the opposite.
Mm-hmm. So anyway.
I love that.
Yeah. So, so where we are, kind of getting aware of how perfectionism kind of, in some ways, oversteps its boundaries in our language or how we're sharing something with each other. And kind of steps in and says, don't make a mistake. This might be dangerous, so be careful how you say something. So that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to get you to be perfect in how you're going to say it. It was just trying to offer another way that might be
an alternative to the defensive statements that we're used to saying.
Right. So you can create your own.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, so... some of our language that's defensive creates those disconnections. So what we're looking to is to shift our focus, kind of being aware of what we might say might signal insecurity or an emotional threat to somebody. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we're aware of this, so taking that time. So... anything that's coming up for you about what we've just shared, any of these, any stories or anything that comes up for you?
Well, not beyond the one I already just shared.
Uh-huh. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Because I do this very little now. Mm-hmm. I don't do it as much as I used to, and I'm excited by that. Mm-hmm. I do have a tendency to avoid conversations that I don't know how to have.
And what do I usually do? Yay.
Yeah. She's always like, yay, that's wonderful. You
realize what it is. That's right.
Yeah.
And now I can do something different. So that's wonderful that you're aware of those. So taking this not as a way to see that you don't have the skills or tools. You're evolving, you're growing, you're learning about this. We don't all come with the skills and tools we need for our relationships.
Lord, no, and nobody ever taught it to us before.
No.
So here we are.
So anyway, when somebody hears "don't take this the wrong way," their nervous system is kind of preparing them for that harm, even if the message might be mild. So, and how we're looking at this is part of our perfectionism tries to eliminate that risk. Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't do it. I'm not telling you not to do that way, just to be aware of that. That's kind of what's coming up with perfectionism. So, now we have a little bit about imperfect clarity. Instead of "I don't want to offend you," try "I want to share something honestly." Instead of "this might sound stupid," try "I'm thinking this through out loud." So these are just kind of ways you're just letting them know you're not clear on their concept that you're sharing, or you're not clear about what's, but you're offering that invitation.
Yeah, I like I'm thinking this through out loud. Like, this is the first time I've actually said this. Just be mindful of that, please. And most people who are, in good relationship with you will understand.
So relationships, when they require perfectionism, you're going to have a lot of conflict. Because somebody's going to fall short of perfect. Correct.
Especially in your mind.
Or the other person.
It might be perfect in their mind, but that doesn't apply to everybody else.
Right.
Because everybody has their own standards.
So connection doesn't require that flawless phrasing. It does ask us to have clarity and willingness to repair as needed. So.
Authenticity allows imperfection and trusts repair. That is so true.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about authenticity.
Let's just be ourselves now, please.
Yeah.
Can we just do that? Thank you.
I overheard had a conversation on a show that they were talking about authenticity, and about, in some ways, that's what we're here to practice, is being who we are. And so, but sometimes we're not perfect. It's not about being perfect. Authenticity is not about perfection at all. It's just,
it's being true to yourself.
Right.
And and I think for most people, once you are actually, being true to yourself, you're not worrying about perfection anymore, because it's just a man-made construct that doesn't really exist.
Well, I want to give a little bridge here to our next two episodes, because we've got more to cover in all of this. And here's a little preview about episode 9. We're going to be talking about the words we might use to receive validation, and sometimes we kind of avoid that validation because we're not in. Maybe we're not aware of it, or it might be the wrong way to say it or phrase it. And then the 10th episode is about an agreement that isn't a real agreement.
Right. Examples are like, fine.
Fine, sure.
Okay.
Right. So anyway.
Yeah, okay is fully loaded.
We just want you to know that these are the ones that are coming up for our next couple of episodes. We're excited about them.
Right. Yay. If you notice yourself softening, disclaiming, or buffering before you speak, pause and ask yourself, what you're protecting. What are you protecting? You don't know, do you? Or do you? Who are you protecting?
Are you protecting the relationship? Are you protecting yourself from being imperfect?
Right. Connection isn't built through flawless communication.
Nope. It's built through presence, honesty, and repair.
Right? Because you got to repair when you screw up,
Correct,
when you
right.
make a mistake, and that's what we do as humans. We make mistakes.
Well, that's kind of why we're bringing blueprints, because we're trying to help and support people in some ways. That metaphor of blueprints. You as an architect, I know you call yourself in recovery.
Right, right.
But you as an architect, if you don't have that set of blueprints, can you build anything?
No.
Yes.
Well, you can try.
You can try, but it won't look the
miserably.
same. Right. So we
Yeah.
don't really come with a set of blueprints. And so in some ways, this is kind of what we're offering for Blueprints for Belonging, is kind of a way to kind of understand how to be in relationship, not only with yourself, but with others. So, and we'll keep exploring it. So,
Yeah, we will.
yeah.
So do we have a word? Oh, notice?
Yeah.
We already had notice.
We did?
Yeah. Notice was episode 6 or 5.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
My
Whoopsie
bad.
days.
My bad. Well, notice
Yeah,
again.
We're already recycling words. Uh-oh.
Notice again. Notice when... Uh-oh.
Yeah. Notice when you add disclaimers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Notice when you edit before speaking.
Notice when you don't go back and look.
Yeah. Notice the fear underneath, y'all.
I'm not perfect.
That's right.
There you go. That's why we have it. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Exactly.
So notice what happens when you allow a little bit more imperfect honesty into your conversations.
Right.
So you don't have to be perfect about doing any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right. It's not about perfection. It's about the journey. Because
Right.
there is no end point either.
right.
Life just keeps on giving.
Well, I just want to say one other thing. So it's back to about perfectionism. When we fear saying something imperfectly, sometimes we default to being safe and non-committal, and which in some ways kind of slowly erodes that connection. If I'm not sharing, I'm not saying anything, I'm not talking about it, when we avoid those things. So we'll talk about that in the next episodes. So
Cool.
be aware.
Yeah. Well,
So,
thanks for listening
yeah.
to Blueprints for Belonging.
Yeah, thank y'all. Come back.
Come back next week. All right. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Blueprints for Belonging. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow. Leave a 5-star rating for us and share it with a friend.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Your support helps us keep building conscious connection in this disconnected world.